The oh-so-yummy KitKat Duos took over a year to perfect just the mocha layer. Hershey's food scientists ran countless tests to nail that smooth coffee-chocolate balance. Each bar is made with real coffee extract, scanned by high-tech sensors for flawless symmetry, and yes, even the signature snap is sound-tested for that satisfying break. But what really goes into making these crunchy, creamy, chocolatey treats that have 70% of fans breaking them finger by finger like a sacred ritual and stay brand loyal? Let's find out. Starting from the very beginning, before any KitKat Duos Mocha plus chocolate bar lands in your hands, we have a whole world of ingredients traveling miles just to come together in perfect harmony. Cocoa is the real star here. The cocoa used in KitKat mostly comes from West Africa, especially Ghana and Ivory Coast, and also parts of Latin America. These regions have the ideal hot and humid climate that cocoa trees love. The journey starts with cocoa pods, which are carefully harvested by hand with machetes. Inside are cocoa beans. First, the beans are fermented under banana leaves for several days. The bitter beans begin developing their flavor, thanks to natural microbes doing their thing. After that, they're sun-dried and then shipped off to be roasted and cracked open. That's how we get cocoa nibs, tiny crunchy bits full of pure chocolate flavor. Cocoa contains theobromine, a compound similar to caffeine, which gives you a little mood boost and contributes to that comforting chocolatey feeling we all know. Hershey's doesn't just buy any cocoa. They're part of the Cocoa for Good program, which focuses on fair trade, better wages, no child labor, and farming education. Now, what makes the Duos bar extra special is that smooth layer of mocha creme on top. And that comes from Arabica coffee beans, sourced from high-quality farms in Latin America and Ethiopia, some of the most famous coffee-growing regions in the world. You might wonder, is this real coffee? And does it have caffeine? Yes, it contains real coffee extract, but it's carefully formulated. Sometimes they use flavor extracts rather than brewed coffee to control the caffeine levels, so it doesn't turn into an energy bar. Now, let's move to the crispy core, the wafer. The flour and sugar used here mostly come from US farms, especially in the Midwest, where Hershey has long-standing supplier relationships. The wafer layers are made with a batter that traps tiny air pockets during baking. Those pockets are what give the bar that light, crisp texture. We've got everything now, the wafers, the chocolate. But wait, you can't have creamy chocolate without milk. Hershey gets most of its dairy from US dairy farms. But instead of using fresh milk, which spoils quickly, they use milk powder. Why? Because milk powder is stable, easy to transport, and lets Hershey control the exact level of milk solids in each batch of chocolate. It's also essential for emulsification, which is a fancy word for blending fat and water smoothly together. In short, milk fat makes chocolate feel smooth and rich on your tongue. Each ingredient in your KitKat is carefully sourced, processed, and balanced for flavor, texture, and quality. But who even thought of mixing coffee with a KitKat bar? Like, did someone just dunk their KitKat into a mocha one day and go, "Yep, this needs to be a thing"? Well, not exactly, but it's not far off either. Let's rewind a bit. KitKat has been around for a while. Since 1935, actually. It started in the UK, created by a company called Rowntree's. Back then, it was known as the Chocolate Crisp, and it was designed to be a light, quick snack you could have with your tea or during a break. The name KitKat came a few years later, and it just stuck. Fast forward to the modern era. Nestlé bought out Rowntree's and now owns KitKat globally, except in the United States. In the US, It's actually licensed by Hershey, which is why American KitKats taste a bit different from the European ones. Hershey decided to take things up a notch with a new series called KitKat Duos, a bold move to shake things up without messing with the original formula too much. Instead of reworking the whole bar, they kept the classic wafer and coated it in 2 layers of flavor. And in late 2020, the Mocha Plus chocolate flavor was born. But why mocha though? Well, pretty simple. Consumers wanted it. Coffee and chocolate is one of those combos people just can't get enough of. From mochas at cafes to chocolate-covered espresso beans, it's everywhere. Hershey noticed a spike in demand for coffee-flavored snacks and jumped on it. So now that we've had our little history snack, let's jump back into the factory, because this is where things start to get seriously cool and delicious. Oh, and hey, if you're enjoying this tasty journey so far, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more behind-the-scenes candy secrets. Back to business now. You've probably noticed the KitKat Duos Mocha Plus chocolate bar looks pretty fancy for a snack aisle regular. Well, it's intentional. On the bottom, you've got a smooth layer of dark chocolate. Rich, slightly bitter, super addictive. On top, there's a creamy mocha crème, a velvety mix of coffee flavor and sweetness that hits just right. Together, they're layered in perfect harmony over the signature crispy wafer. Now, how do they get that flavor just right? Well, the food scientists at Hershey have to carefully balance sweetness, bitterness, and acidity. They use mouthfeel enhancers, ingredients that help the mocha crème feel creamy and rich on your tongue without being too heavy or oily. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Flavor encapsulation. Fancy term, but it means wrapping the delicate coffee aroma molecules in tiny protective shells. That way, they don't degrade over time. These encapsulated compounds extend freshness and keep the bar tasting like it was made yesterday. And the beautiful mocha brown layer isn't just natural luck. They use coloring agents, approved ones, don't worry, to give it that warm, creamy hue. Now that we've talked about where the ingredients come from and how the flavors are perfectly engineered, let's get into the real magic, the actual making of the KitKat Duos Mocha Plus chocolate bar. Let's start with the foundation of every KitKat, the wafer. First step is mixing the batter. The dough is made using a very specific ratio of wheat flour to water, along with a few extras like leavening agents to give it just the right puff and structure. Each wafer is only a couple of millimeters thick. Now they're moved on to baking on conveyor ovens. The batter is poured onto a massive flat conveyor belt and baked in high-speed ovens that cook each wafer in a matter of seconds. The ovens are super hot, and the heat is distributed evenly to make sure the wafer turns out crispy, light, and golden brown. Next is the layering with cocoa cream. Once the wafers are baked, they move down the line to the layering station. This is where robotic arms step in. Each wafer gets a smooth swipe of chocolate-flavored cream, a rich cocoa mix that's not too sweet and not too thick. Multiple wafers are stacked on top of one another, each layer glued together by this cocoa cream. After they're stacked to the right height, which is usually around 5 thin wafers, they're compressed slightly to keep everything tight and even. Now, the stacked slabs head to the slicing station. Here, razor-sharp blades cut the slabs into the iconic KitKat fingers, those perfect rectangular sticks we love to snap apart. Right after cutting, the fingers are sent through a cooling tunnel. This step is important because it sets the structure. If they tried to coat the wafers while they were still warm or soft, everything would fall apart or crack. Cooling helps the layers firm up and hold their shape without losing the signature crunch. Now, onto the fun part, chocolate time. Each finger rides along a belt where it gets a bath, but only halfway. The bottom half is dipped in a layer of smooth, dark chocolate made from that rich cocoa we talked about earlier. This layer not only adds flavor, but acts as a sort of base for the mocha layer to sit on. The chocolate has to be tempered, a process that involves carefully heating and cooling the chocolate to stabilize the cocoa butter crystals. This gives the chocolate that shiny finish, that satisfying snap, and keeps it from melting at room temperature. Machines here are fine-tuned to maintain a temperature of about 31 to 32 degrees Celsius, the sweet spot for the perfect temper. Each finger passes under a set of precision heads that gently deposit the mocha crème onto the top half. This mocha layer has been pre-whipped to a silky smooth texture, light, airy, and full of real coffee flavor. The mocha crème sets slightly thicker than frosting, but not as hard as chocolate. But why the split layer design? Well, there's a reason they went with the two-toned, two-flavored bar. Visually, it's eye-catching, but more than that, it allows the coffee flavor to hit your taste buds first, followed by the deep richness of the dark chocolate. It's all about flavor timing. Once the bars are layered and coated, they go for taste testing. Optical sensors scan each bar for shape, size, and symmetry. The sensors can detect even the tiniest imperfections. Then comes the weight check. Each bar is automatically weighed, and if it's even slightly under or over the expected range, it gets rejected. Any misshapen or mismeasured bars are collected, melted down, and sent back into the chocolate-making process to be reborn as future KitKats. Before a KitKat Duos bar ever lands in your hand, it has to survive a whole world of testing. 𝗙𝗿�cie has trained taste testers whose entire job is to sample chocolate all day. These experts are trained to analyze flavors on a microscopic level. Every new batch of KitKat Duos gets rated based on sweetness, bitterness, aroma, and texture. And then there's the most iconic test, the snap test. You know that sound you hear when you break a KitKat? That satisfying crack? Well, the team literally measures the sound and feel of the snap to make sure the structure is perfect. If it doesn't snap right, it doesn't pass. Now, once the product gets the internal thumbs up, it moves to real-world testing. 𝗙𝗿�cie pulls together focus groups, basically regular folks like us, to taste test. These testers try the product in early stages and give honest feedback. Is the mocha too strong? Is it too sweet? Would they actually buy this again? This feedback goes straight back to the food scientists who make changes to get everything just right before launch. Sometimes it takes months of back-and-forth trials to settle on the final version. KitKats go through rigorous microbial testing to ensure no mold, no spoilage, and no bacteria. They're also tested for shelf life, meaning how long they can sit in a store and still taste fresh. The secret hero is the oxygen barrier in the packaging. This ultra-tight seal keeps out moisture and air, so the bar doesn't get soggy, stale, or worse. All in all, before you even take that first bite, the bar has been tested, tasted, snapped, and sealed with perfection. And hey, if you've made it this far through all this chocolatey goodness, you clearly have great taste. So why not hit that like button and subscribe? We've got more tasty deep dives coming your way. Now that the KitKat Duos Mocha plus chocolate bars have passed the tests, snapped perfectly, and are looking delicious, we have come to the final step. Wrapping them up like tiny gifts, only these gifts taste way better. The first step in packaging is flow wrapping. and it happens super fast. The bars are placed on a conveyor belt, and machines wrap each one in milliseconds. The wrapper isn't just for show, it's designed to create a hermetic seal, meaning no air or moisture can get in. This keeps the bar fresh, crisp, and safe, no matter how long it sits on a shelf or in your desk drawer. Each wrapper is made from polypropylene film, a strong but flexible plastic. It also has a metallic layer that protects the bar from light and heat, keeping the chocolate from melting or changing color. And yes, those mocha brown graphics and bright red logos. They're printed using food-safe inks that are totally safe to be around your snack. Every single KitKat bar gets a unique identifier, including a batch number and best by date. This helps Hershey track every bar that goes out. If anything ever goes wrong, they know exactly where it came from and when it was made. Once the bars are wrapped, they're boxed, palletized, and prepped for shipping. During hotter months, Hershey even uses cold chain management, a temperature-controlled system to keep the bars from getting too warm. Why? To avoid chocolate blooming, that white dusty layer you sometimes see. It's harmless, but not very pretty. But what do you think? Let us know in the comments. And hey, if you've got a burning question or you're curious about the secrets behind another favorite snack, drop your suggestions below. We're always ready to unwrap the next delicious mystery.